guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing the second half of the Prototype Biohazard bundle, which is Prototype 2. The game with a new protagonist, a new crazier chain of events, and a new crazier storyline is going down. So I hope you guys are ready to evolve, consume, and even hunt down your targets. So let's get started. Releasing back in 2012 for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, and PC, Prototype 2 puts you in the hands of a new protagonist named James Heller, an Iraq veteran returning to New York to seek out revenge for the loss of his wife and daughter to Alex Mercer. The Mercer virus has also spread even further in New York, and with James Heller getting infected with the virus and potentially becoming the next Mercer, it's up to you to stop the infection from spreading even more while stopping Mercer from causing even more harm to what's left in New York before it's claimed as New York Zero. But while you're working on your way to stop the spread of the infection and halt Alex Mercer's plans of chaos, new and reoccurring powers make an appearance in Prototype 2. To the brand new tendril powers where you can pull and stretch every military and infected monster, the bio bomb where you can turn an infected or human into a literal bomb, to the fan favorites like the blade power, hammer fist, and long and quick claws, Prototype 2 brings the fresh of the new and the best of the old back into this action-packed joyride of a sequel title. But while there's new powers, there's also new enemies to show as well. From the brand new brawler types to the new race of infected humans with powers called the Evolved. Prototype 2 pulls no punches and tossing in brand new enemies along with the old enemies as well. You'll find a challenge at every state. Brawlers, juggernauts, evolved, military, hunters, hydras, flyers, and even though a special evolved with just as much power and speed as James, Prototype 2 doesn't hold back and give you a challenge this time. See, I could go on and on and on and on and on and forever about Prototype 2. But what fun is that if I'm not giving you the pros and cons about it? So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the pros. The story in Prototype 2 exceeds the first Prototype miles ahead. It's actually written better and you grasp a feel for the main character this time around. You begin to see the world change and the fight for James' humanity come at stake throughout the game. The side characters actually feel alive and more relevant this time unlike the first. Father Guerra, the people you meet at Blackwatch, Alex's sister Dana, and even the by-the-book military characters Rooks and Riley feel properly written and defined. It's a definite pro for me. The gameplay in Prototype 2 is fresh and revamped. From the brand new hunting system where you follow the ping of where the person is coming from, to the all-new redone combat system where you can switch off two powers at once with X and Y, have combos matched with hammer fist and blade, tendril and whip fist, claws and blade, with all new devastation attacks like the Tendril Devastator and the brand new brawler controller called Pack Leader. Prototype 2 does a great job with the brand new system. Definite pro for me. The perk system in Prototype 2, or the mutation system as they like to call it, is like a variant of Fallout system, where you can pick one perk at a time and it'll boost one stat while possibly having an effect on one stat or two. The mutation system and evolution system is definitely something that Prototype needed. Instead of you having to save up massive amounts of EP just to buy maybe a skill and have nothing left over, this is definitely a breath of fresh air and is definitely a pro for me. My last and final pro for Prototype 2 is that the world around you feels more alive than the first. The community feels improved. The civilians respond in singing power-ups and high jumping instead of seeing it once and gradually ignoring it. They gasp in shock and awe and begin to run from the slightest metahuman showing. In Prototype 1 you could bump, could jump, and stealth consume people and nobody would really react. But now it's the complete opposite and it's done in a really good way. People get scared and call you a monster and run the opposite way. It's a definite pro for me. Now, when I was stepping into the world of Prototype 2, I was expecting the problems that affected Prototype 1 heavily to be fixed, which they were, but some problems were ignored and they still kind of affected Prototype 2. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you the cons. My first con that I have with Prototype 2 is that the Radnet missions are great for the leaderboard support and vary in 3 to 4 different missions, but those 3 to 4 different missions are all repetitive. Rampage here and kill all these infected monsters, do the helicopter races here, collect all the paperwork in the boxes by racing, and the occasional bowling style target practice, rinse and repeat. There isn't much variation on the side missions as you think there would be in the repetitive shows like crazy. It's a definite con for me. My next problem that I have with Prototype 2 is that the camera and aiming system never got improved. It's just as bad as the first Prototype's camera and aiming system.
It bounces around, it doesn't lock onto who you're actually aiming at no matter how many times you flick the left stick in that direction. And that was one of the first prototype's biggest flaws, this camera and aiming system. It's sad to see it not improved in Prototype 2 because everything else is buffed up from the combat system to the movement and everything else. It's definitely a con for me. My last and final con for Prototype 2 is that the boss fights in Prototype 2 are too easy. Not really that much difficulty behind them. From the massive Goliath fight to the evolved humans, they aren't really that tough. For many massive improvements in Prototype 2, they lack without giving some difficult bosses throughout the game. With a giant enemy like the Goliath that should be a health eater, or the swift evolved humans that should be hard to hit, they shouldn't be really easy to combo on. And that's why this is definitely a con for me. All in all, Prototype 2 is a really fun game and has some shining improvements from the first one. With this well-written story, new streamlined combat, new perk system, solidly fresh gameplay and lively world of New York, but the camera and aiming system not making any improvements, lack of difficult boss battles, and the repetitive side missions also get old, because these were the same issues in the first Prototype. But with that being said, Prototype 2 gets a 3.5 out of 5.
Alright guys, that concludes part 2 of my Prototype Biohazard bundle review. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll leave a link in the description box below where you can catch up. Also coming this Saturday is the Arcade Cabinet episode 13, where I'll be reviewing the indie game Beyond the Eyes, where visuals appeal to more than the eye itself. Also coming 2 weeks from now is my Gears Ultimate and Rare Replay review, so stay tuned for that. Also, I'd like to give a big shout out to a homie of mine, SoundsByNature, for the beat uses today. If you haven't checked out his work, which you should, it's fire. I'll leave a link in the description box below where you can check out his craft. Also, I'd like to give everybody a big shout out, a big thank you for watching the review today. If you guys are newcomers, hit that subscribe button for me, please. You guys will be guaranteed great content, great reviews, and great work. For all my returning people, I enjoy you all watching the review. You guys are awesome. Stay tuned for more great content. So until next time, guys, we'll tune in, turn up, and throw down. I'm out.